Here we go. This is the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Senior. We are locked and loaded with another jam-packed show. You don't want to miss a single second of what we're talking about today. News, rumors, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, offseason winners and losers, and it's all presented to you and brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. If you're looking for the most elite men's grooming product tools, you can find them with Manscaped. Father's Day coming up on Sunday. Get your pops hooked up with some really nice stuff. Manscaped.com/49ers. When you enter that link, custom link for the faithful, by the way, you get 20% off and free shipping. That link available for you in the comment section and the description of this video. So we'll officially start the show in about 10 minutes, but before that, it's all about you, the viewers, the subscribers. Want to chop it up with all of you, want to give you some shout outs and show you some love. Have you been watching the NBA Finals? If you're a fan of the Niners, if you're living in the Bay Area, if you like San Francisco, you probably like the Golden State Warriors. What a performance last night in Game 5. Andrew Wiggins going off. Klay Thompson looking like vintage Klay. Splash Brothers have had it going on over the last couple of games. Who wins the NBA Finals? Will it be the Warriors? 4 championships for the current iteration of this crew of Klay, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, and Steve Kerr. Or will it be the Boston Celtics? I know a lot of you are big hoopers out there. C for Celtics, W for the Warriors. Who you got winning the NBA Finals? I'll give some shout-outs here. Aaron Magana, Niners for life. Let's go Niners. Yes, sir. Dante Tobin, bang, bang, Niner gang. Black going with the Warriors. Kid at greatest. I got the Warriors. Chua Lore. I know you've been tuned into our watch parties. Last night, more than 500,000 viewers tuning in throughout the night. Chua Lore was one of them. He likes Golden State as well. Cushite Smoke, you got that Kush? Type in a W for the Warriors. Efrain Gallardo, W for the Warriors. Lavelle Forrest also likes the Warriors. No, Lavelle going with the Celtics, switching it up on us. Jackson Ross riding with the Dubs. Mitchell Tucker, Warriors as well. Make sure you subscribe to our Warriors channel. It is called Golden State Warriors Today, and I am the host of it. Videos almost every single day on Golden State, and we have you covered throughout the NBA Finals, in the lead up to the NBA Draft, NBA free agency, year-round coverage. Make sure you subscribe. You see the link down below, youtube.com/WarriorsTV. If you like my face here on the 49ers Report, you'll see my face on Golden State Warriors Today. Top-notch coverage there. How many games will the 49ers win this year in 2022? I have them slated for about 10. What do you think, though? Give me a numerical figure down below in the comments. Catching up on some of the comments here. Lavelle Forrest, he's got the Boston Celtics. Thanks for the shout-out from Aaron. I got you, bro. Shannon Mack, Warriors. Too many veterans. I really like their NBA Finals experience going into the championship round, and it certainly paid big dividends. Aaron Magana, Celtics. Niners, ride or die from Julian. Welcome back to the show. Byron McCants likes the Celtics. Michael Fernandez, Dubs. As for the predictions, Dante Tobin, 13 49ers wins this year. Jamie Bryant, 11. Jackson Ross, 11. The homie Draco, tuned in from Las Vegas, 11 as well. Brian Caminati, 10. That's about where I'm at. I think Trey Lance will go through some hurdles, but at the end of the day, he's going to impress a lot of people. Julian, 12. Chua Lore, 13. Mitchell Tucker, 11 wins in the regular season, then a Super Bowl win. Hopes flying high for San Francisco. Alton Jefferson likes the Warriors. Going back to that previous question, Ray Amador, 10 Niners wins this year. Tucker God, 12 in 2022. Hello from Mexico, Rogelio. Thank you for tuning in from Mexico. Hola, you're bonita. I see a 13-4 record from Kevin Clement. 13 easy, might be 15 from Michael Humphrey. Appreciate all of you for getting those predictions in. We're also going to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo early on in today's program. Do you think he gets traded? Louis Riddick saying he's a perfect fit for the Seattle Seahawks. Type of Y for yes and N for no. Do you think Jimmy G ends up getting dealt? Shout out to Michael Fernandez for the $5 super chat. Be like Mike and send in a super. Thank you so much for that donation. Here it is. It was a super chat sticker. Michael Fernandez, always supporting everything that we do. Appreciate that, my guy. Back to the question, though. Will Jimmy G get traded? Y for yes, N for no. I'm looking down at the comment section, peering down, and I see yes from Ellis, yes from Tommy, yes from Jamie, Chua Lore also typing a Y for yes. Ephraim going 12 Niners wins. Kevin, Y for yes. Draco thinks that Jimmy Garoppolo will get traded. Ray Amador, Y for yes. Aaron Magana, yup. Brian, no. Let him go to the Cox from Tommy Salinas. Very nice. Jackson Ross, I think he will just ride the bench this year. Expensive guy to be riding the bench. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Hey, hey, hey. Goodbye. That coming from Dante Tobin. You like my singing? Y for yes, N for no. Morris McLean, Y for yes. Kevin Clement, yes, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get traded. Cushite Smoke, he's got that Kush out there in Cali, also typing a Y for yes. Going to be doing another live podcast on the Call-In app after our show on YouTube and Rumble airs live. Then we'll be live on the Call-In app. Make sure you call in. Make sure you join the show. Make sure you chop it up with me. Chatsports.com/49ers call-in. The homie, Seeps, putting those links in the comment section right now. Download the app. You can get it right now on your iPhone or your Android devices. Think of it like Twitter Spaces, but it's even better. You have an opportunity to make a profile, and then you hop into the caller queue. Draco knows what I'm talking about. A couple other people know what I'm talking about. Then you have an opportunity to call into the show just like a sports talk radio show. So download it now. Join us after the show wraps up visually. We're going on an audio platform. It's chatsports.com/49ers call-in. 100 people watching live right now. We're about to get the show underway. All good, Marsh. If you're pumped for the show, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Right now, only 27 likes. Can we get to 50? Can we get to 50 before we officially start off? Let's ride. Tickle that thumbs up icon, smash that down, and let's get it popping. Jackson Ross, Jamie Bryant, Lavelle Forrest, Ephraim, Cushite Smoke, Tom Harrison, Mario Nunez, Ellis 10, all in the chat right now. Still at 27 likes. Smash that thumbs up icon, like the video if you're ready for the show to officially start. Call in is the shit from Jonathan Lamont. You already know. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Drake Jackson, I'm calling it right now from Mark Dial, has a chance playing on the opposite side of Nick Bosa. Speaking of predictions, going to be doing 10 bold predictions for training camp for San Francisco on our call-in segment. Then I'll be answering all of your calls. Just can't wait for the season to start. Niner football from Aaron. Ellis 10. Also, there could be a QB injury that plugs Jimmy Garoppolo in. Not technically false. Can't wait for Niner football from SIC. Julian Ross, Niner for life. Also hitting that thumbs up icon. 2 likes away from 50 likes. Smash it. Here's what we have coming up. We're going to talk about Louis Riddick saying that he thinks Jimmy Garoppolo a perfect fit for Seattle. Trey Lance getting some praise from NFL scouts and executives, but also some people calling his mechanics wonky. We're going to take a look at some offseason winners and losers and do 2 mailbags. Then we'll pivot over to call in for a live podcast. So all of that coming up on the docket on the 49ers Report. We're about to officially get underway. People are receiving that notification. They're piling into the show. Appreciate all of you for making the 49ers Report a part of your day. We got a lot of great stuff cooked up for all of you, so you don't want to miss a single second of it. So hit that thumbs up icon, like the video if you're ready for the show to start. The audience going to continue to grow all throughout the day. We're going to start off with some news and rumors. Anthony Molina. What up, Chase? What up, Anthony? Mitchell Tucker. He hit that thumbs up icon. So too did Ellis 10. Just surpassed 50 likes. We ain't stopping there because we're never content. Rude J Alien. What's up, Chase? Bang, bang, Niner gang. Yes, sir. Meps, Niner season never ends. Our defense going to be top 5 for sure. Our coverage never ends. Videos every single day. That's why you subscribe. We're less than 100 people away from 60,000 subscribers. So make sure you hit that sub button if you haven't already done so. Chase reminds me of a guy I went to college with. Cool dude. I think producer Marsh, Seeps, they would say I'm a pretty cool guy as well. Some people here at Chat Sports might think I'm intimidating. I don't know why, but overall, pretty cool cat. All right, coming up next on the docket, news and rumors around Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. So without further ado, let's get it started right now. This is the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Coming up on today's show, getting to the latest news and rumors around Jimmy Garoppolo as well as Trey Lance. But first, have to give a shout out to Manscaped for making today's show possible. Get rid of that bush. Get the best male grooming products by going to manscaped.com/49ers. And when you enter that custom link for the faithful, you will get 20% off and free shipping. A lot of you have procrastinated. You haven't gotten your dads anything for Father's Day. You want to get them something that lasts a long time, that he actually uses and doesn't pick up dust. Manscaped is the answer. That link available in the comment section and the description of this video. So we start off with the latest around Jimmy Garoppolo away from the team throughout offseason activities as he rehabilitates that shoulder injury. He's been away from the facility by the good graces of San Francisco. They've allowed him to rehabilitate in Los Angeles, and his roster spot right now is undetermined. Is he going to be on this team in 2022? Is he going to get traded? Is he going to get cut? Precarious situation for San Francisco given his salary cap number at $26.9 million. But I thought this was really interesting that Louis Riddick, NFL analyst, said that he thinks that Jimmy Garoppolo is a perfect fit for the Seattle Seahawks and, quote, the missing piece for what Seattle wants. Now, he said that because of what the Seattle Seahawks have going on at the quarterback position. Not necessarily ideal if Pete Carroll, who's in his 70s, wants to win football games. Drew Lock, there's a big question mark around him. Geno Smith, we know what he is at this point. He's a journeyman backup who never lived up to those lofty expectations coming out of West Virginia and kind of faltered when he got starting reps at the New York Jets. And then Jacob Eason, he ain't it. Did some good things at the University of Washington, but the point here being is that the Seahawks quarterback depth chart is thin, and that's why Louis Riddick thinks that Jimmy Garoppolo would be a good fit in the Pacific Northwest for the 49ers' fiercest rival. Now, when you take a look at the latest Jimmy Garoppolo odds for where he will start the season in Week 1, here's what the odds makers have right now. Houston Texans leading the way at plus 150 odds, followed by the Detroit Lions at 3-1 odds. Carolina Panthers right there as well, followed by the Seattle Seahawks at plus 350 and the Chicago Bears at 12-1 odds. If you're new to sports betting, what would all of this mean? Basically, if he got traded to the Chicago Bears, he was on the team in Week 1, and you put $1 down. If he's in fact on the Chicago Bears, you win $12. That's how sports betting works. I got y'all. I always got the faithful. So, before we take a look at what Louis Riddick said, I want to hear from you. If you want the Niners to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, because there's a fraction of the fan base that wants him dealt, and there's another fraction of the fan base that wants him back. So if you want him to get traded, hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. If you don't want him to get sent away, I want you to comment why. As for what Louis Riddick said about Garoppolo and his fit with Seattle, he said this, quote, "He can throw as pretty of a pass as anyone in the NFL." Lofty praise there from Riddick. And with some of the weapons that Seattle has out there, when you think of Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Noah Fant, two good running backs. They just drafted two bookend offensive tackles. They're building up the defense right now. Jimmy Garoppolo is like the piece that they're missing. Seattle setting the table for some quarterback in the next year or two. If it's not Drew Lock or Geno Smith, which it ain't gonna be, someone's gonna inherit a football team that has quietly set themselves up. Now, in 2022, I don't think the Seahawks are in a position to win a lot of football games, but moving ahead into the future, maybe they could be. And if the timeline gets hurried up, we know that Garoppolo has won a bunch of games throughout his NFL career, winning more than 70% of his starts. As for why he might be able to fit with the Seahawks, he's a better option than Drew Lock and Geno Smith. That's my opinion. It's also the opinion of Louis Riddick. Pete Carroll also really wants to run the football, and with Garoppolo, you can do that a ton, and he can just play point guard, essentially, as the quarterback and just distribute the football when he needs to. Garoppolo would also give that franchise a steady winning presence, which is what they had for about a decade under Russell Wilson, which outside of 2021, that's a franchise that never won less than 9 games, with the exception of last year. The downside for trading for Garoppolo, he's really expensive, but if the Seattle Seahawks think that he can be their long-term answer at the starting quarterback spot, he's going into the final year of his contract. And maybe you take on that big salary this year, you eat that chunk, then you sign him to a contract extension worth less money than what he's currently on. As for the 49ers side of this, deep down, I think San Francisco may be petrified of trading Garoppolo to Seattle. It's a division rival who has always owned San Francisco under Kyle Shanahan's watch. And can you imagine Garoppolo going up to the Pacific Northwest with the Seattle Seahawks and haunting the Niners twice a year? I think the 49ers deep down are petrified. I don't think they should really worry about it. This is a roster that's better. It's more talented, more premier players, and I think that Trey Lance can do some damage at the quarterback position. We'll get to Trey Lance coming up around the corner, but first, I want to hear from you once more. This time, I want you to get that comment section flowing. Would you, if you were in the shoes of John Lynch, trade Jimmy G to Seattle? D for do the deal, K for keep. I'm fielding all of your responses in the comment section right now. You let me know. Coming up around the bend on the show, ESPN ranked all of the second-year quarterbacks in the NFL. Where did Trey Lance rank? Also, according to some scouts and executives across the NFL, some heaped praise upon Trey Lance, others calling his mechanics wonky. We'll dive into that coming up right around the corner. First, though, do want to give another shout-out to Manscaped. As I said off the top, Father's Day is coming up on Sunday, and oftentimes we get our dads these gifts that are, of course, thoughtful, but let's be honest. He puts it away in the closet. He never uses it. With Manscaped, he has to use it because of the daily maintenance it requires down there below the nether region. Manscaped.com/49ers. You can get the Platinum Package today, which includes everything that your pops wants. A travel case, the Lawnmower 4.0, ball trimmer. You could also get the nose trimmer, shampoo and conditioner, the boxer briefs, some of the most comfortable that I've ever worn. I displayed them on Monday's show and kind of gave myself a wedgie in the process. Manscaped.com/49ers. Plug in that link, 52% off with the Platinum Package. Get your dad something really nice for Father's Day that he actually uses. I'll put that link in the comment section for you, as well as the description of this video. Okay, now to the much-anticipated news and rumors around Trey Lance. ESPN, led by Jeremy Fowler, ranking all of the sophomore quarterbacks in the NFL. Where did Trey Lance rank? Number 5. Is it disrespectful? Is it not? You can chime in and sound off in the comment section and let me know. He is behind Trevor Lawrence, according to these rankings, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, and Justin Fields. Now, by season's end, I think that Trey Lance will be able to matriculate his way up these rankings. I think he has as much ability, if not more, than any of these quarterbacks. And most importantly, as we're about to uncover, I think that Trey Lance is in the best situation among all of these quarterbacks with the talent on the roster and Kyle Shanahan in his ear in the headset. Before we take a look at what some of these scouts and executives had to say about Trey area, I want to hear from you. You just saw those 5 quarterbacks on your screen going into pivotal year 2. Where would you rank Lance among those aforementioned quarterbacks? Rank them from 1 to 5. As for what one AFC scout had to say about Lance, he's in the best spot by far, but I don't know if he's ready. Coaching and system will help him tremendously. An NFL executive saying this about number 5, he will be fine. He's talented. He's going to make plays with his legs. He has the best play caller in the game in Kyle Shanahan, who will put him in a position to succeed. And this is why I think that Lance can succeed. And this is why I have confidence in him going into year 2, outside of some of these other sophomore quarterbacks who previously have had a lot of success. Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. They were all in pretty ideal situations with good complementary pieces around them. Trey Lance has that with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Jawan Jennings, Danny Gray, Trent Williams, as well as what could be one of the best defenses. Most importantly, though, a very good head coach and a front office that's always willing to spend and willing to surround the quarterback with the necessary talent. So I agree with that sentiment there. One NFC offensive coach said this about Trey: I think they were 100% taking Mac Jones until they saw their fan base overreact. Now, I disagree with that because I don't think that pro teams put feelers out there and they make decisions that are predicated on what the fan base is saying. If that were the case, a lot of these professional organizations would hit that panic button, they would crumble, they would fail, and at the end of the day, that's when head coaches and general managers get fired. I don't think San Francisco tapped into the pulse of the fan base. I think they just realized that Trey Lance's ceiling is unlimited. There's no cap on that. For Mac Jones, there is, and I think we're about to see that in 2022, especially if Joe Judge or Matt Patricia is the damn offensive coordinator for the New England Patriots. An NFC scout on Trey Lance. The throws he makes in flashes are insane. The athleticism and toughness to go along with it are real. He's had time to get his feet wet while observing. I think that always ends up well for the ones with high ceilings like him. And that's what I've always kind of said about Trey Lance. The potential is limitless for Trey. Trust the staff led by Kyle Shanahan, who let go of a couple of coordinators, restocked some of that offensive staff to build around Trey Lance, to make him the future of the franchise, the face of the franchise, and to extract the best out of him. And the supporting cast, as I talked about, going to be pivotal for Trey area going into year 2. All those reasons and his work ethic, him staying in Santa Clara an extra week when he didn't have to put that work in, get in the lab to further work with his teammates, all good signs for Lance moving forward. Last question of the segment, will Lance have a good year this upcoming season? G for good, B for bad. Let me know in the comment section. And thanks for watching today's show. Okay, we'll give you some shout-outs here. The Patriots wanted Mac Jones for sure. I think they did. They also got him at pretty decent value, middle of the first round. Jimmy Garoppolo, Lawrence will never have the team to support him. I do like the hiring of Doug Peterson. I think that will help him just a bit compared to the fraud Urban Meyer. LS10, Mac Jones was bailed out by the Patriots defense. Guy attempted 3 passes in a game on the road against Buffalo. That's bad. Early reports are that Gray is a disappointment. No, that's not the case. He was injured, so nobody really got to see him. When he was on the field, Jimmy Ward was like, yo, this guy has burners. This guy has some really good speed. Michael Humphrey, G, but for great. Chua Lord, G. Lavelle Forrest, G. Cushite, G. Everybody typing a G. I like the good vibes in the comment section right now. Next up on the show, going to be doing a mailbag for you to get involved, for you to get your questions answered. Got to use the hashtag 49ers. Better yet, you could super chat us. Hashtag 49ers or super chat us if you want your questions answered. Stanley in the house from Hawaii. He's going to ball out this season from Ephraim. Fork. Jones is lucky to be in New England. Trey Lance is lucky to be in San Francisco. Get those questions in for our upcoming mailbag. Also, after our show wraps up on YouTube as well as Rumble, going to be shifting over to Call-In for another live interactive podcast where I had the grand luxury to answer all of your calls. Gray got injured? Yes, he did. Hamstring strain. So he didn't practice last week in front of the media and didn't practice and is not practicing this week because of that hamstring injury. Make sure you subscribe and join us, chatsports.com/49ers call-in. That link about to be peppered into the chat right now. Think of it like Twitter Spaces, even better. The real ones know. We want to pick up some more real ones, live interactive podcasts where you can call in. That's coming up right after the 49ers Report airs on YouTube as well as Rumble. With that, let's get to this mailbag right now and answer all of your questions. Coming up today on the 49ers Report, I'm going to take all of your questions surrounding San Francisco. But first, we've been going live every single Tuesday after our live show airs on YouTube as well as Rumble on the Call-In app. Think of it like Twitter Spaces, but even better. You got to download the app so that you can call into the show. Chatsports.com/49ers call-in will take you to the promised land. Enter that link. Make a profile, download the app. Therefore, you can join our shows. Going to be continuing to go live once a week moving forward. Would love to chop it up with all of you watching right now. Okay, let's dive into all of these questions coming in from our loyal subscribers on the 49ers Report. As we are approaching 60,000 subs, we're going to start off this mailbag with this one coming in from Don Keedick. Is there any chance the 49ers could trade for Lane Johnson with the uncertainty of Mike McGlinchey? So I would love Lane Johnson as a player anchoring that right tackle spot. He's one of the best right tackles in the game. Last year, he gave up minimal pressures, and that's really impressive considering that Jalen Hurts is a really active and athletic quarterback. Lane Johnson is really good. He's also paid a lot of money, much more than Mike McGlinchey. And if you're San Francisco, what would you give up to bring in one of the best right tackles in the game? You'd have to give up a lot, whether it be player capital, whether it be draft capital. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, what would they want back? Would it be a player like Javon Kinlaw? Would it be a player like Brandon Ayuk? Would they be willing to take back Mike McGlinchey, who's kind of been a bust as a first-round pick coming out of Notre Dame? For San Francisco, Lane Johnson would be great. Now, he's getting a little bit older. The price tag is very, very high, but this guy is a consistent performer. And for Philadelphia, they have Jordan Mailata at left tackle. who is going to really be their mainstay at that spot, protecting the blind side for Jalen Hurts. They also have Andre Dillard, who isn't even playing as a former first-round pick. That's why some of these Lane Johnson rumors are out there. I don't think the 49ers are going to get involved. With that, I ask you this. Rank the Niners' offensive line from 1 to 32. Let me know in the comment section where you think the Niners' offensive line is. A lot of experts out there slating them at about 14 in the NFL. Chua, do you think that Jimmy comes back to the 49ers if the trade doesn't happen? Well, he's under contract, so unless he wants to hold out for the entire 2022 season, I think that he would come back, and I think that San Francisco would be willing to have him back. Yes, it's a high cap number at $26.9 million, but is he better than Nate Sudfeld? And if Trey Lance goes down, do you want to go with Nate Sudfeld or do you want to go with Jimmy Garoppolo? I'd rather go with Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, I would have predicted at the end of last year that Garoppolo got dealt, but the shoulder injury threw a wrench into the Niners' plans. Jamie Bryant, what is Danny Gray's hamstring looking like today? Well, I haven't spoken with him today, so I'm not really sure. Kyle Shanahan did speak last week and said it's a hamstring strain. So during minicamp, he did not practice in front of the media. There were some clips that the Niners did release of him on the practice field. He blew by Jimmy Ward, and Jimmy Ward was like, man, that guy can really fly. So he has a speed element to his game. He has yards after the catch ability. I like the upside and the potential of Danny Gray. I think he's going to be a really good player over time, and I think he fits really nicely into what the 49ers want to do, and there's not a ton of pressure on him in year one to produce, nor is he going to receive a lot of attention from the opposing defenses, right? Because you have Deebo Samuel, you have Brandon Ayuk, you have Juwan Jennings, as well as George Kittle. So I think that Danny Gray is going to be able to have a pretty solid season for San Francisco. And he just has to show that he can stay healthy, and hopefully these soft tissue injuries are not a long-term concern. Next question coming in from Julian Rost, Niner for life. Your thoughts on number 8 Steve Young and his comments on Lance? Yeah, you know what he said about Trey Lance? He's confident in the kid. He thinks that he has a lot of potential. He thinks that he can become the real deal over time, and the jury is certainly out on Trey. I think when you look at a prospect and a young quarterback, you're looking at skill set, you're looking at ability, size, arm strength, his physical attributes, what he did in moments last year, and I thought that he really did make some strides last year as a passer and grew within some of those games. Of course he was a little bit rusty. Of course he looked a little bit green and inexperienced. He played one game in 2020 because of COVID, one full season at North Dakota State, and made 2 starts last year. So anybody ripping him for being inexperienced, that is not a surprise to anybody. And Steve Young has seen some of the ability up close and personal, and Lance has that ability. He just needs reps, in my opinion. Good question coming in there from Julian and all of our subscribers. Make sure you join the squad on our 49ers Report YouTube page as we're closing in on 60,000 subscribers as we record this on Tuesday during our live show. But also, we've been doing live podcasts every single week on Callin. And we have 98 subscribers over there trying to continue to grow our profile on the Callin app. It's like Twitter Spaces, but even better. Chatsports.com/49ersCallin. Download the app on your iPhone or your Android devices. And make sure you join our weekly live podcast so that you can call into the show. Corey James, what's up with Julio Jones? Will he play this year? Should Kyle Shanahan go after his boy? I think the 49ers are actually somewhat set at the wide receiver position. They have a couple of guys who are obviously sneaky good when I talk about Juwan Jennings, Danny Gray, and Malik Turner. Those are really the latter 3 wide receivers. And obviously Deebo Samuel is an elite player. Brandon Ayuk, in my opinion, a very good player. So I think the Niners wide receivers who actually make this team from top to bottom, it's Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Ray McCloud, Juwan Jennings, Danny Gray, and Malik Turner. 6 guys right there that I think are pretty good and might all be less expensive as compared to Julio. Now, Julio did have the best 2 years of his career, which is a Hall of Fame career, when Kyle Shanahan was his offensive coordinator. The numbers, straight up stupid. We've covered them here on the channel, but that was a long time ago, right? Julio Jones is not the same player. The production has gone downhill while the injuries have increased. He's an older guy who can play that X wide receiver out wide, And would you rather have him as compared to a player like Mohamed Sanu from last year? Yeah, but I think the Niners this year are a little bit deeper at that wide receiver spot. I don't really think they need to sign Julio Jones in free agency. He hasn't announced his retirement, but up to this point, he also hasn't signed with the team. Maybe if an injury happens, that's when he latches on with the squad across the NFL. What do you think, though? I've let my feelings be known, but as always, we want to hear from our loyal subscribers. Should the 49ers sign Julio Jones? S for sign, W for you think he's washed. I'm going to submit my W for washed because I don't really think he's at the top of his game. Jonathan Lamont, do you think the Texans are still in play for Jimmy Garoppolo? The quarterback room is a dumpster fire, hashtag 49ers. Yeah, so look, they do lead the odds right now from Vegas for Jimmy Garoppolo's Week 1 team at plus 150. I think what the Houston Texans want to do, they want to move forward with Davis Mills. They think that he can be the guy. They spent a draft pick on him last year. I thought he did some really impressive things as a rookie. Even against San Francisco, I thought that he did some really impressive things and showed some potential. And for Houston, you're not in a rush to really win right now, so why not see what your rookie quarterback can do? Now, they do have ties to Jimmy Garoppolo in that front office because they have some ties to the New England Patriots with that current regime, and Jimmy Garoppolo was there when some of the front office execs were with New England. But I don't think the Texans are going to make a play for Jimmy Garoppolo, especially because they're paying a lot of money to players who are not on the roster, and we know that cap hit $26.9 million for Jimmy G. Jonathan Lamont with another one. Who will have more of an impact this year, Danny Gray or Ray McCloud? I think it's going to be Ray McCloud because of everything that he can bring to the table. Punt returns, kick returns. Last year, one of the best in the NFL in both of those areas. In San Francisco, one of the worst. That's why I really like that signing of Ray McCloud. As for him offensively, I think that Ray McCloud has proven throughout this offseason that maybe he could be more than a gadget guy, I should say. That's what he was primarily used as in Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh, they're always really stacked at that wide receiver spot, so I don't think that Ray got as many opportunities as he wanted. And Ben Roethlisberger, he had no zap. He had no zip on the football. He was bad, and he's been bad for the last couple of years. So I think Ray McCloud, experienced, has a diversity element to his game. He's also been in the league for a little while. He's flashed so far throughout the offseason. Danny Gray, we'll see. He's a rookie, third-round pick. Obviously, over time, you want him to be a contributor, but I think that Ray McCloud in 2022 going to be a little bit better. Next question coming in from Tucker God. What is the chance on Jimmy staying on the Niners? At this point, who knows, right? Like a couple months ago, we would have said that Garoppolo would have been traded. That was the prediction from me. Then the shoulder injury happened. All this crazy quarterback movement also took place, which really messed up the 49ers' plans for Jimmy G. So I think that Garoppolo and his chances of staying, I don't know, man. I'm always bad at this because I hate math. Let's say 40%. 40% chance that he's on the Niners for the entire season. Now, teams have become a lot more active at the NFL trade deadline. So maybe he gets traded in the middle portion of the year. We will see when it comes to Jimmy Garoppolo. Appreciate all those questions that came in throughout this mailbag. You guys are the best. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. 60,000 subs. Also, give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. It is the same handle on both social media platforms. If I didn't answer your question today, then you can hit me up on social media. I interact with so many of you on the social media sphere. It's been awesome to interact with everybody among the faithful. So make sure you give me a follow at Chase_Senior. Appreciate all of you. Going to be going live after the show today on Callin. Subscribe and join us. Chatsports.com/49ers Callin. You can download the app on your iPhone and Android devices. Giving some shout-outs to the people. David McCallum, typing a C for that last question. Poen 1, I hope you're right about Lance. So do I. What did the Warriors do to you from Jimmo Gorillo? What do you mean? Ray will be the man this year from Daddy Dog 58. USMC, Niners for life. Let's clarify. Staying on the team as a backup. Yeah, he's not going to be a starter, man. Ellis 10, 90% chance that Jimmy Garoppolo gets traded. Julian Rost, from what you have seen in training camp, have the Niners addressed the secondary issues? I think they have, man. I think they're a lot deeper. I think they're, frankly, a lot more talented in the secondary. Charvarius Ward, legit number 1 because of that. Emmanuel Mosley, a very good number 2. Ambry Thomas can be a number 2 in the slot. Samuel Womack. Michael Fernandez, $20 super chat that just came in. Thank you so much. We will do our best to pop that up if we can't. Verbal shout out to you, Michael Fernandez. Greatly appreciate that donation. Going a long ways to support everything that we do right here on the channel as we push out videos every single day. You're a real one. Greatly appreciate that. And when Michael Fernandez super chats us, he doesn't even say anything. He just sends in a super chat sticker. Little words, a lot of money, going a long way. Michael Fernandez, San Francisco, you are the man. Thank you so much for supporting the show. Next up on the 49ers Report, live here on YouTube as well as Rumble, going to take a look at some offseason winners and losers. So that's what we're breaking down on the show today. So also going to be doing a mailbag at the end of the show as well. So if we didn't answer your questions during our first mailbag, we will answer your questions at the end. Hashtag 49ers or Super Chat. Michael Fernandez back in the chat. Well done, Chase. Appreciate that. All right, without further ado, let's break down these offseason winners and losers. What's good, faithful? You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. My name is Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for making today's show a part of your day. On the docket for the show, going to take a look at some offseason winners and losers. We did this with minicamp. We did this with OTAs. How about for the offseason as total going into training camp, which is set to take place in the shadows of Levi Stadium in July? Can't wait for it. But in the lead up to training camp, let's take a look at who won the offseason and who lost the offseason. We start off with the winners because I'm a glass half full type of guy. I like to be positive, and I'm all about the good vibes. We start off with Jauan Jennings, wide receiver, who is really emerging up the wide receiver depth chart, and since being a late-round pick out of Tennessee, has really proven to be a sure-handed wide receiver, and I think his role is going to expand with Trey Lance here in 2022. Now, he was turning heads throughout OTAs, got limited action in minicamp, but when he was on the field, everybody was taking notice. Kyle Shanahan, Jimmy Ward, some players offensively, and some of the media members on hand for some of these practices. As for what we've been seeing from JJ, really reliable hands, rarely drops footballs. Last year, he was great on third down, great on fourth downs, as kind of that security blanket wide receiver. He's a really crisp route runner, which is an underrated element to his game. And in the slot, at about 6'3", usually teams will employ a guy who is shorter, who has that wiggle, who has that burst, who kind of runs like a jitterbug, right, to shake free from some linebackers. But Jauan Jennings, opposite of that. He gives you size, he gives you length, and underrated athleticism. And for Trey Lance, can be that security blanket for him on third down and fourth down. If some of the other reads aren't there, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, it seems as though Jauan Jennings is always awaiting to make a big play. I talked about Jimmy Ward heaping praise on Jauan Jennings. Here's what he had to say about JJ. Jauan kind of surprised me to a little bit, He's got a lot more talent than I thought he had. He's a great route runner, and he knows how to work his leverage. And sometimes when we evaluate wide receivers, we look for quick twitch guys. We look for guys who have burners, who have that pull-away speed. But what's so important? Reliability of your hands, route running, and small things like leverage, because in the NFL, windows can get really tight, and sometimes separation doesn't really matter. Jauan Jennings, he opens up that space for his quarterback to deliver the football, and who cares if he doesn't have the greatest speed? If he's there, if he's open, he's had the propensity to make big plays for the 49ers offense, and I think he's going to be able to do that this upcoming year in 2022. He is an offseason winner, and with that, I ask you this. If you think Jennings will break out this upcoming year, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. If you don't think he's going to break out, I want you to name a different breakout candidate in the comment section right now. Offseason winner number 2, Talanoa Hufanga, the safety, who last year as a rookie really impressed me because of his versatility. Playing both safety spots, playing a little linebacker. He was sent home on some blitz packages and was a big contributor on special teams as a gunner, a guy who made his way downfield to make tackles, and, as we know, NFC divisional round, on the road, Green Bay Packers with the snow falling at the Cathedral of Football, scoop and score off the Jordan Willis block punt to win the football game. His offseason, summarized here, got starting reps with Jimmy Ward, so it looks as though he's already with that first team. The Niners didn't end up re-signing Jaquiski Tartt, who would have been competing with Talanoa Hufanga for that starting spot, opposite of Jimmy Ward. Throughout practices, didn't really give up explosive plays, didn't allow the top to be taken off of the defense, and everybody's raving about the shape that Talanoa Hufanga is in. It's best shape of life season, baby, as we like to coin it here at Chat Sports. Basically, when training camp comes rolling around, OTAs and minicamp, everybody raves about this player trimming down and looking cut. Talanoa Hufanga, that's who they're talking about this offseason. Of course, Trey Lance has to be an offseason winner for a variety of reasons, most notably his play throughout OTAs and minicamp. He's been turning heads, he's been spinning it, he's been displaying velocity, he's been linking up with some of his wide receivers and tight ends on some deep balls, playing really, really good football. Impressing his coaches, his teammates, the media, at some of these OTAs and minicamp sessions. His accuracy looks to be improved. Everybody makes a big deal about this wobble on Trey Lance's football. You know what I care about? Accuracy. If he puts it in a spot for a wide receiver to make a play, and if he has pinpoint precision with his throws, that's all that really matters. Peyton Manning, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, had a slight wobble to his throws. It's all about touch, all about accuracy. For Trey Lance, his mechanics looked a little bit cleaner. So that goes to show you, put in some work throughout the offseason, threw a couple of touchdowns underneath, excelled in red zone drills, was able to complete some balls all across the field, including some long plays deep downfield to take the top off of the defense, and stayed an extra week this week with some of the rookies and some second-year players to continue to get in that work. And that's what the greats do in this league if they want to see greatness at the quarterback position. Who has the most pressure on him going into training camp in July? Is it Trey Lance? Is it another player? Some might say, I don't know, a guy like Kyle Shanahan. You let me know in the comment section right now. Fascinated to see what you all come up with. Last offseason winner. How about this special teams unit in its entirety, right? Led by the new special teams coach in Brian Schneider. Here's what the 49ers did to address one of the worst special teams units from a year ago. They hired Brian Schneider, who took last year off, but used to coach for the Seattle Seahawks. And when he did, they were one of the best special teams units in the NFL. Also, the Niners, as a return team last year, they were dreadful. They addressed that by signing Ray McCloud, one of the league's best as a punt and kick returner last year. Their coverage was also bad. They fulfilled that, signing Oren Burks, formerly of the Green Bay Packers, as well as George Odom, who is an all-pro special teamer with the Indianapolis Colts. And the 49ers, one of the worst special teams units a year ago. It lost them games last year. Yes, Robbie Gould was great throughout the regular season and in the playoffs as he continues to be perfect, putting the ball through the uprights. But we're talking about coverage here. We're talking about the return game. The return game is so pivotal. That can flip the field. That can change momentum. The Niners did a lot to improve an aching special teams unit from a year ago. Before we get to our losers, make sure you subscribe to us on Call-In, a live interactive podcast app that we've been utilizing and going live on once a week after our live shows every single Tuesday, which come your way 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. Subscribe on your iPhone or your Android and make a profile. Therefore, you can call into the show. Chatsports.com/49ers Call-In. That link in the comment section and the description of this video. To our offseason losers now. Got to start off with Jimmy Garoppolo. Why? Because Garoppolo didn't get traded like he probably would have preferred to a team where he could have been the starting quarterback. He continues to recover from shoulder surgery while Trey Lance has been impressing a lot of people throughout this offseason. And Jimmy Garoppolo's future is uncertain. There's no doubt he's a top 15 quarterback in the National Football League, but will he even be a starter this upcoming season because of the quarterback movement, all the transactions and the trades that took place, and him coming off that injury? Slated to start throwing at the end of June, maybe at the end of this month, maybe even in July, but because his future is uncertain, because it looks as though he's going to be replaced by Trey Lance, and he didn't get traded, he is an offseason loser. So too is Brandon Ayuk because he's struggling from the drops right now. And he had a golden opportunity to prove that he can earn a really big contract moving ahead into the future, and he could be a potential wide receiver 1. With no Deebo Samuel throughout OTAs and minicamp, it was Ayuk who was the number 1 wideout. And what did he do? Struggled a little bit with drops. Now, he was good in some red zone opportunities. There's no question about it, but I was surprised that Ayuk struggled catching the football from Trey Lance. Yes, it's a little bit of a switch up going from Garoppolo and his arm strength, or lack thereof, to Trey Lance, who has a rocket, but Ayuk has no excuse because he's been training with Trey Lance all throughout the offseason. Ayuk really, at the end of the day, just has to be more consistent. That's what I want to see from him. Last year, the perfect example of that. Was he in the doghouse the first 6 games for Kyle Shanahan? Yeah, potentially. Then in the last 11 games, he really started to turn it on, and the production was evidence of that. Last 11 games, as compared to the first 6 games, you can't even compare it. 2 completely different players. And at points in his rookie year, he was tremendous. He also had lulls. At points in his sophomore campaign, really those first 6 games, he went through these stretches where we're like, okay, where's Brandon Ayuk? He has the ability. Why isn't he displaying it? Why isn't he getting targeted? Last 11 games, he was exceptional in my opinion. 47 grabs, 730 yards, and 4 touchdowns. I want to see more consistently Brandon Ayuk be the guy that he was the last 11 games of the year. With Ayuk moving ahead, do you think he has wide receiver 1 potential, or do you think that he's a wide receiver 2? He was drafted in the first round. Obviously, when that happens, the expectations are that you're going to be a top-tier wide receiver. 1 for wide receiver 1, 2 for wide receiver 2. How good do you think Brandon Ayuk has the potential to be? Last offseason loser, it is Nate Sudfeld. Without Garoppolo participating in OTAs and minicamp, Sudfeld worked as quarterback 2 and didn't really do anything to instill confidence in anybody. That's not good. That's a problem for this organization moving forward. We know that Trey Lance is inexperienced. We know that he's a little bit green. We know that he has work to do to fully tap into his potential. We also know that if Trey Lance goes down with any type of injury and Garoppolo is not on this team, San Francisco is kind of screwed. Because if Nate Sudfeld performs like he did this offseason, that can be an issue for this team moving forward. Is he going to get replaced by a guy like Brock Purdy, who got drafted with pick number irrelevant at the end of the NFL draft? I don't think so. But Brock Purdy, he's really the only other quarterback on this roster. Nate Sudfeld has to be better in training camp as well as the preseason. So I want to hear from you. I cooked up this list of offseason winners and losers. Give me your biggest offseason winner and loser in the comment section. And as always, thanks for supporting the show. All right, let's see what the people are saying here. O-line, my biggest concern, from Joe McIntyre. They can be a loser. I like that. Can't win if you can't protect, from Joe. The game is won or lost in the trenches. O-line and D-line. Now, the Niners do have one of the best D-lines in the NFL. Offensive line, a little bit of a concern. Wesley Jacobson. I see him like a Sterling Shepard type. Okay, not terrible. Joe McIntyre thinks that Ayuk is a wide receiver too. Fork Tail Devil saying 100%. He agrees with Joe there. Skid Marquee, between our defense and special teams and our running game, I feel that Trey will need to just be a game manager quarterback and make smart decisions with little to no picks. Yeah, interceptions, of course, are going to be important. I want to see what his decision-making is. Yeah, they didn't pick him to be a game manager. But this year, he's not going to be a game manager. But are they going to run the football? For sure. Are they going to utilize some of these other weapons? Are they going to rely on the defense and at times use the clock to their advantage? Yeah, potentially. We know that Kyle Shanahan loves to run the football. That is the bread and butter of this offense. Another mailbag coming up. That'll be our last segment on our YouTube and Rumble show. Then we will pivot over to call-in for a live podcast. In the meantime, do you have any questions? I see the comment section popping right now with a bunch of really good responses. I want to hear from all of you. Hashtag 49ers. Better yet, super chat us. Get those questions in as well as those super chats. Or you can be like our homie who is sending in the super chats early. Greatly appreciate that. Michael Fernandez, a big supporter of what we do. 99 likes, got to get to 100. Let's get it. Hashtag 49ers or super chat. Get those questions in. I want to answer all of them. So flood the comment section right now with all of your questions that you have for me. and we will answer all of them during our upcoming mailbag. Yo, Chase, we still on for Vegas from Skid Marquee? Hey, I mean, I ain't scared, man. I know that myself and Mitchell Renz would love to go out there for Raiders-Niners. That'd be epic. Chua Lore getting a question in. Jonathan Lamont. Winner is Charvarius Ward. Loser, Jamichael Hasty. I like Charvarius Ward. That's a good name there. Lavelle Forrest. What do you think will be better for the season? Defense or offense? I think defense. I really think they can be a top 5 unit. Sudfeld, the next Nick Mullins from 2020. I think Nick Mullins is actually better. Edward Gaines with the question coming in. Good looks there. I want to hear from you. Hashtag 49er Super Chat. We good to go, Marsh? All right, let's start this mailbag right now. What's good? Welcome in. What's happening? You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for watching and tuning in and supporting the show. Coming your way. Going to take all of your questions from our loyal subscribers. So let's kick it off with this one coming in from Jonathan Lamont. Who is the weakest link on the offensive line? A couple of potential weak links, Jonathan. That's a really good question, actually. Is Aaron Banks going to be the starting left guard? I think so. Is Jake Brendel going to be the starting center? Maybe that was the plan all along. And then who's going to start at right guard? Is it going to be Daniel Brunskill? Is it going to be Jalen Moore? At right tackle, is it Mike McGlinchey? Like, all of those guys outside of Trent Williams could be weak links along this offensive line. I don't think that's crazy to say. The offensive line is a big concern for me. Recently, some executives were polled, and they put the Niners' offensive line at 14th in the NFL. Has to be of the utmost importance to do everything that San Francisco can do to protect Trey Lance. And if that offensive line is struggling, that will not be good for this offense, especially in the ground game, considering the importance of it. Edward Gaines with this one. Over-under for Trey Lance, 20 touchdowns passing and 5 rushing. Well, he had a couple of rushing touchdowns last year, right? And a couple of throwing touchdowns, of course. I think that Lance will have more than 20 touchdowns passing. My predictions have kind of fluctuated for him. I think that if he throws for like 28 touchdowns and runs for 20, that would be, a pretty good combination and kind of offers a different threat to opposing defenses as compared to Garoppolo. I think the offense with Trey, more explosive. They throw the ball long a little bit more. They push the ball downfield. And the running game can succeed because of the dual threat that Trey Lance does possess. Now, of course, going back to that previous question from Jonathan Lamont, nothing will happen if the offensive line is porous. That guy, pal, what's the latest with DK Metcalf? He asked that. Could we trade for him? I don't think so, nor do I think that Seattle is going to trade DK Metcalf at all, let alone to San Francisco. If you want to pay Deebo Samuel, then you don't trade for DK Metcalf because they're both in similar situations from that same draft class, as well as Terry McLaurin, right? They're all looking going into the final year of their rookie contracts for a contract extension. So if you want Deebo, you pay him. You don't trade for DK. Now, if you want to move on from Deebo Samuel, and you're desperate for a number one wide receiver, DK Metcalf could be that guy and more of a prototypical wide receiver as compared to Deebo Samuel, who has the running ability to his game that DK Metcalf does not. So I don't think the Niners are going to trade for DK Metcalf, nor do I think that Seattle would trade him. That guy, pal, also with this, could we sign J.C. Tretter? I said this back a couple of weeks ago. I think J.C. Tretter would be a good addition for this 49ers offense, but I think the plan all along potentially has been Jake Brendel. Chris Forster, offensive line coach, used to coach for the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, he was let go there for infamous reasons. You can look it up, but he comes to San Francisco, and he coached Jake Brendel when he was with Miami. He's raved about him. And if the 49ers didn't address center during the draft or in free agency, they had to have had an indication that Alex Mack was going to retire. That tells me that the lack of planning during the draft and free agency, they were comfortable with Jake Brendel. Now, Daniel Brunskill can also play a little bit of center. Those are your two options in my opinion. If not, then I would like J.C. Tretter. He's a very good player and one of the best centers in the game over the last couple of years. Now, here in the summer, the weather obviously warming up no matter where you are. A lot of people are getting outside. You're busting a sweat. You're getting active. over the weekend, I embarked on a couple of physical challenges, and I want to see what you guys have done when it comes to your hardest physical activity. So on Saturday, it was a record high here in Dallas, Texas. I ran in 102-degree weather. It felt like 109 at the time. And then the following day, I ran 9 miles. I think the 9-mile run, one of my hardest physical activities I've ever done, but I want to hear from you. Are there marathon runners out there? Have you embarked on some really long swims? How about some lifting workouts? Have you played football and you thought that was an arduous activity? Let me know. I kind of want to gauge more personality from the audience in the comment section right now. You let me know down below. Julian Rost with this. Going into the season, any concerns on Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch continuing their jobs for the future? No. Talking about a Final Four team and moving ahead, I was asked this question on call-in. Am I concerned about the Niners moving forward? Because when they have this Super Bowl window, sometimes teams do fizzle out. And you go back to the Harbaugh days, an older team that all of a sudden was a dumpster fire with Jim Tomsula as well as Chip Kelly. Then they bring in Kyle Shanahan to build the franchise up from the ground up. For San Francisco, though, I don't have those concerns. And Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have put them in a position to compete right now, but also in the future, right? I mean, you look across the entire roster, Trey Lance is 22 years old. You have a stable of young backs. Trent Williams still has really good football left. Offensive line, you drafted some players there recently. Aaron Banks, Jalen Moore, Spencer Burford. Like, you have young players there. Debo's young. Ayuk's young. George Kittle, injury prone. Still young, though. Jawan Jennings, Danny Gray, young players. Ray McLeod, still young as well. Then defensively, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Jimmy Ward, Fred Warner. I wouldn't identify any of those guys as older. Charvarius Ward, young. Emmanuel Mosley, still ripe age. Ambry Thomas is as well going into year 2. I think the Niners are set up nicely to compete in the NFC over the next couple of years, and that is tied to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch as we circle back to the question. Lil Dude, the only two factors that can hinder us from being a top 10 offense is the offensive line and Trey reading different defenses in real time. Yeah, obviously, if Trey Lance can't dissect, break down, and decipher defenses, it's going to be a little bit of a concern. Quarterbacks don't last long if they can't go through their progressions and keep the defense guessing. You look at Colin Kaepernick as a good example of that. First couple of years, he was lightning, right? He was tremendous. Defenses hadn't really seen a player like that with the arm strength and the legs going back to like Michael Vick. I mean, he offered such a dynamic ability at that quarterback position. But over time, defenses were able to adjust. They changed their defensive schemes to draw up defenses to really hinder Colin Kaepernick and counter what he did well. I thought Colin Kaepernick also lacked a lot of touch on his balls, and that is certainly a little bit of a problem. So that's could be an issue for Trey Lance moving forward as well. If you're pumped for the 2022 season, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Look, I know that we're in the doldrums of June right now. Things are really slow, but think about this, right? Training camp is getting underway in about a month and change. That means that the regular season right around the corner with preseason happening before that. Everybody should be excited for San Francisco coming up. If you are, tickle that thumbs up icon. Also, I am the host of Golden State Warriors Today. So right now, as we're in the doldrums of the NFL offseason, the NBA offseason is really picking up steam, and it's about to get even more popping. Why is that? NBA draft coming up on Thursday, June 23rd. After that, it is NBA free agency, and I am the host of Golden State Warriors Today. So if you're a fan of the Niners, living in the Bay Area or beyond, and you root on San Francisco teams, I am the host of our Warriors channel. You can subscribe by going to youtube.com/WarriorsTV. Really good follower base over there of more than 30,000 subscribers. We're going to continue to grow. As for our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, I am also leading our NBA draft coverage, and I hope that you tune in on the 23rd, youtube.com/ChatSportsTV. On our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, we eclipsed 300,000 subscribers, and I've been diving into the tape for all of these NBA draft prospects. I will relay all of my thoughts on them throughout the NBA draft, as we'll be live, myself and Harrison Graham, every pick for both rounds. Make sure you subscribe and join us. Cody M12, would you trade for Saquon Barkley? Bang, bang, Niner gang. I would not. I don't like paying a large sum to running backs. And Saquon Barkley, Marsh, you're the host of New York Giants now, $10 million in base salary this upcoming year on that rookie contract, so he's really expensive. He's been injury prone. If he didn't deal with some of those injuries, he'd be one of the most sought-after weapons in the NFL. I'm fascinated to see what he's going to do in 2022 after a couple of down years. But San Francisco, their feelings have been known throughout the draft. They drafted Trey Sermon 2 years ago, as well as Elijah Mitchell. This year, it's Ty Davis-Price. If you bring in Saquon Barkley, you're basically throwing away 2 third-round picks because Saquon Barkley has to get consistent snaps. So I would not trade for Saquon, but he's been rumored to be on the trade block in New York. Chua, should the 49ers address a kicker? No. Robbie Gould was sensational last year. Mitch Wishnowsky was also pretty good. I don't think that's a position of need for the Niners going into this upcoming season. Robbie Gould in the playoffs has been nearly unconscious. So I don't think the Niners need to address a kicker unless an injury happens, of course, right? And last year that did happen for a brief amount of time for Robbie Gould. But addressing a kicker, that is not on the need list for San Francisco as of right now. Maybe you're excited to watch Robbie Gould because kickers are people too. If that's the case, let me know down below. But who are you most excited to watch this year? Let me know. Drop me a name in the comment section. Also, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. Love chopping it up, interacting with the Niner gang. I asked you for your best physical challenges in the comment section. Somebody just said sex in 100-degree heat. I asked for your creativity. You certainly gave it to me. Thanks as always, Faithful, for showing up and showing out. Ask you this again. Hardest physical activity you've ever done. Let me know. I'll give you some shout-outs here. Then we're going to go live exclusively on the call-in app. Michael Fernandez with another super. You are the man, my guy. Thank you so much for that. Cheers to you with some water. What is that? Nice, Triz. Love Robbie Gould from Bryant. Lance, baby. And our defense, Ellis 10, Trey. Got to be Trey from Krumall. Gold with the golden leg. That was my call on the watch party. Robbie Gould, gold. Trey Lance from Christy Porter. Excited about Greenlaw and Bosa from Mises Lee. Yeah. Gold is clutch from Joe McIntyre. Larry Fort, Trey Lance. Margot Clay, Trey Lance as well. Trey DJ Cruz. Jawan Jennings. I've been watching him for 2 years now from Lil Dude Wow. Construction in 105-degree heat from What Noodle 187. That sounds like a very arduous task there. I'm most excited to watch Trey Lance from Wesley Jacobson. Daniel T. What up, brother? Danny Gray. Most excited to watch this year. $5 super chat from Michael. Hey, Michael, we appreciate the donations. If with your donations and super chats you want to send in a question or a comment, you can do that. But we'll take the super chat characters as well. You're the man. You're the man, dude. Appreciate that. I think it automatically gets removed for whatever reason. So we're about to go live exclusively on the call-in app. I'm actually about to start the room here. It is in the comment section right now. Call-in app, live podcast where I give you 10 predictions for the 49ers in training camp. That's coming your way on the call-in app as I'm about to start our live podcast. Also, what's really cool, you get an opportunity to call into the show. So here on YouTube and Rumble, you can comment, and I can read your comments, but it's better to see your profile pictures and hear all of your lovely voices as well. So we're going to be doing that on the call-in app. Let me pull that up. No commercial breaks here. No rest. Rest is for the weary. I don't know, actually. So I'm going to start the room here. I can send it to him. All right, so we're about to start our call-in room for a live podcast. Hope you all join us over there. Just bear with us as we get that started. We'll still stay live here on YouTube for a few moments, but then we'll shut the stream off and go live exclusively on call-in. Getting it ready here as I work all of this from my phone, which is another cool feature for the app. The room has officially started, and we are officially live on Call-In. You're listening to the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. Coming your way on today's show, of course, we're going to answer all of your calls, but also I'm going to break down 10 bold predictions for the 49ers going into training camp. Already, a lot of people are tuned into the show. I'm going to send the link right now to Seeps, so just bear with me here. And then he's going to pepper it into the YouTube comment section. People will be able to click on that, then they'll be able to join us. If you want to hop into the caller queue, you can do that. Maybe we'll answer a call as we're live on Call-In, as well as YouTube. And then when we shift primarily to Call-In, going to give you 10 bold predictions for the 49ers going into training camp, and then take all of your calls. So Patrick, I'm sending that to you now. That's the updated link. The link for our call-in room is about to be put into the live chat right now. So if you want to join our live podcast, you can do that. Speaking of the live pod, a couple people already here. It's Draco, Kareem, Brett, Jason, Jonathan, and Mysis. Make sure you get the comment section flowing. Hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. I see Treasure is in the caller queue. Going to make you the next caller, and Treasure, you have a good opportunity here. Make sure you unmute yourself, and people will be able to listen to you on YouTube, Rumble, as well as Call-In. What do you got?
Hey, Chase, how are you doing today?
Doing awesome. How are you?
So we finally get to talk online.
I know. What's going on? Good to hear from you.
Well, I'm really hoping that the 49ers finally get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and hope they can win all the games that they need to.
Me too. I mean, you think about it, Treasure, and thank you so much for calling into the show. If you want to call in a little bit later, you can certainly do that. Just hop into the caller queue after we talk about my 10 bold predictions for the 49ers going into training camp. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, ideally, San Francisco would have traded away Garoppolo, and they would have saved a lot of money in the process, right? $26.9 million with that salary cap hit. And with keeping him on the roster, it did prohibit San Francisco to a certain degree. They weren't able to sign some big-name free agents. They weren't able to give a contract extension, at least yet, to Deebo Samuel or Nick Bosa. So you cut him. You trade him away, you free up a lot of money, not just this year, but obviously moving ahead into the future. You go from having the least cap space in the NFL to number 2 in the NFL. That is, of course, advantageous when you project into the future. So, Treasure, appreciate that. I see Jonathan is in the caller queue as well. I'm going to take this last call, then we'll shut off the YouTube stream. Jonathan, real quick, what do you got? And then call in a little bit later, and you can expand on some of your thoughts. And also, for those of you listening right now, since I'm going through 10 bold predictions for the 49ers in training camp, get your predictions ready, get that thought bank going. But, Jonathan, what do you got, man?
Yo, what up, Chase?
What's good?
All right, man. So, we were talking about what person has the most pressure, I think. And I was thinking that maybe Brian Griese has the most pressure because he was brought over to work with Lance, and they have opposite skill sets. And the rumor was he was only brought over because he has head coaching aspirations in mind, and this is a good leaping, platform for him. But I think he has the most pressure because if Lance struggles in his development, they're going to point right to Griese's, coaching ability.
That's a phenomenal point. Honestly, I didn't even think about that, especially when I was going through offseason winners and losers and posing that question for the audience of who has the most pressure. He does have a lot of pressure on him, right? Rich Ganzarello leaves. He goes to Kentucky to become the offensive coordinator, and I think he left because he didn't really like the future of Trey Lance. At least that's been reported out there. And Brian Griese now inherits a lot of pressure with taking on the quarterback's coach job. He's never coached at the NFL level before. He, of course, does have ties to the Shanahan family. He played for Mike in Denver, and he's been able to stay in touch with Kyle over the years. But for a guy who's inexperienced in the coaching ranks at the NFL level, he's going from the broadcast booth to coaching Trey Lance, and basically the success of the franchise hinges on Trey Lance. Jonathan, that's awesome. Do appreciate that call. We're going to wrap up our show on YouTube as well as Rumble. You know what that means, though? We're only getting started on the call-in app. So, Marsh, you can shut down the YouTube and Rumble stream. Appreciate all of you for watching us. The link to join us in call-in has been peppered into the comment section. Click on that and join us. Therefore, you can call in like Treasure as well as Jonathan. Thanks for watching us here on our visual mediums. We're going to our audio mediums right now.